I wanted to speak to my friends who are pro-choice. I've got a couple sisters who are very much pro-choice, and I understand their perspective and the rights that they're wanting to protect. I think that a lot of folks have no idea about Amendment 3, and I wanted to go over a couple things. I've read the text of the actual constitutional amendment. I've read it over several times. The reason is it will be an actual amendment to the Missouri Constitution, not simply a law. Why is that different? A constitutional amendment becoming part of the Constitution is the supreme law concerning anything that it touches on. So any laws that have to do with women's health care, abortion, anything that's already on the books, and I think there's 40, 50 laws on the books, all of those would be wiped out because this would now be the supreme law of the land. Also, anything that is passed in the future as simply a bill or a law would also, if it conflicts with this, would be unconstitutional, if that makes sense. So there's basically three things that I see here that are very concerning, and I think they would be concerning for my pro-choice friends as well. The first one is the age issue, and that's in the first section right here. It uses the word person has a fundamental right to reproductive freedom, including abortion, etc. The person does not denote an adult. Nowhere does it say adult, and nowhere in this does it talk about parental consent or parental notification. So that would mean that it would be legal, if you look at the words on the page, for an underage girl to get an abortion without the parent's knowledge or consent. And I think that's something that I don't know of anybody who would think that that's right or a good idea. The second thing is the time frame. When you're talking about abortion, at what point are you talking about it? In the first month or the eighth month? There's a huge difference, I think, in everyone's mind there, even somebody who's very much pro-choice. At the eighth month or the seventh month would be, you couldn't call it anything other than infanticide or murder. And the restriction that they have on it is that the government cannot regulate abortion until fetal viability. So what is fetal viability? That would be when a fetus or a baby can survive outside of the womb, the way they define it, without extraordinary medical intervention. Okay? Think about a 5-month-old premature baby or a 6-month-old premature baby. Does that baby need extraordinary medical intervention? I would say absolutely. An incubator that's not normal. It's extraordinary. There's a lot of things that doctors and healthcare folks have to do to take care of a baby who is born premature or with problems or whatnot. So fetal viability is not, it's not a set time period like, say, the first trimester or something like that. How do you determine what fetal viability is, and who determines what it is? Well, what the Act states is that it's determined by a healthcare professional. And you may think that I'm mincing words here, But the words on the paper, again, mean a lot. That's what a judge is going to look at, because this is going to go to court a million times. They're going to look at, what do the words say, what's the understood meaning of those words, and that's the way he's going to rule. So I would ask, is a LPN a healthcare professional? Is someone who works, for example, in an abortion clinic a healthcare professional? It does not say doctor, okay? So that's who can make the determination of what fetal viability is and what it isn't. And I think it's just not, there is no real line there, as far as time goes. And the time of an abortion is extremely important. At what point is it choice, and at what point are you murdering an unborn baby, or So anyway, along those same lines, there's also an exception for mental health, that even after fetal viability, as loosely determined as what that is, mental health is something that isn't kind of in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? For example, if a woman was in her 7th or 8th month of pregnancy, and she said, I'm really depressed, I can't imagine going through with this, whatever. And those kind of situations are real. I'm not making light of that at all. People, a lot of times you're talking about people who are in real crisis. Does that now mean that because my mental health is impacted, that there's no limit on the time frame? And then the third thing that I think is extremely important, that I don't think anybody is really talking about, is this last section here, number 5. And it just says that no person shall be penalized, prosecuted, et cetera, for any pregnancy outcome. Nobody assisting can be penalized or prosecuted. What this is no liability. It takes off all liability for the providers. And I would kind of liken it to what happened with the COVID vaccine, where people who feel that they've been injured by the vaccine, they can't sue Pfizer, they can't sue anybody. I mean, they just have to live with whatever happened. What if you had a doctor or whoever who butchered a woman, basically, or had conditions that were completely unprofessional and unsanitary? And again, I'm just reading the words on the page. As I read this, there is no liability for them whatsoever. They cannot be prosecuted in any way, shape, or form. Where would that leave that woman? Or if the woman dies, or the girl dies, where would that leave her family in terms of getting justice? So that's unbelievable, really. And I don't think that my pro-choice friends realize that. What I would like to see happen instead is have a real discussion and on the issue of abortion in the Missouri legislature. One of the reasons that hasn't happened is the legislative process is not working the way it's supposed to. One of my big campaign issues is to democratize that, so all of the representatives and senators have equal power to bring legislation to the floor for a debate, for a vote. And I think we can come to a mutual understanding where, and where we know really what it is we're voting on. Because people have no idea what what this is going to do. So just wanted to kind of give you a heads up with that, and vote your conscience. But I would recommend that you actually read the text of the amendment, the full thing, because that will be part of the Constitution. That will be the supreme law in Missouri. Thank you very much, and hope you have a great election day.